Good morning, everyone. Today we're looking at electricity use. Now, you will remember this equation, P equals W over delta T. We've talked about power yesterday, and now we are going to use that one. Now, we used to have power in watt and energy in joule and the time in seconds. But we've got a problem when we're buying electricity from Eskom or somewhere else, because now the electricity use is not measured in joule. There's an alternative to joule. They are not measuring it in joule. They're measuring it in kilowatt hours. That's what they call 1 unit. So now we need to use kilowatt hours instead of joule. And now 1 kilowatt hour is the energy used when 1 kilowatt is used for 1 hour. Now we want cost of that electricity. We want to know how much we're spending. It's the tariff, and that is always given in rand per kilowatt hours. And we have to multiply that with the energy, but the energy is in kilowatt hours. It's not in joule. So when you don't want this answer in joule, you want this answer in kilowatt hours. That means I have to put this one in kilowatt and put that one in hours, so that I will end up with an answer in kilowatt hours. And then I can multiply that by rand per kilowatt hours. Since I'm not using joule, I'm kilowatt hours. I want to know how many joule in 1 kilowatt hour. Let's look at how many joules. So we are looking at an energy. So P equals W over delta T. When the energy is 1 kilowatt hours, it means 1 kilowatt for 1 hour. So over here, we're going to put P in 1 kilowatt, but if I want to end up with joule, I am going to put this only in watt. So this is going to be 1000 watt. And then the time, 1 hour, that will be 60 times 60, so 3600 seconds. Right, so now I'm going back to the old units because I want to go back to the old joule unit. So that's just that, and then you end up with the energy being 3600000 joule. So that's how many joules in 1 kilowatt hour. So that's just a different unit for energy. You can use kilowatt hours or you can use joule. So remember, 1 kilowatt hour is 1 kilowatt, which is 1000 watt, for 1 hour, which is 60 times 60, 3600 seconds. And then you end up with the number of joules for 1 kilowatt hour. Right, let's do 2 examples of this. The first one is calculate the cost to use 3000 watts. So they're giving us power for 2 hours. They're giving us delta T, and they're giving us the tariff. Right, now remember, cost is just tariff times the energy used, but you need that in kilowatt hours. So I'm going to work with P equals W over delta T, and remember now, since I'm working towards kilowatt hours, I'm going to put this in kilowatt and hours. So power in kilowatts, that will be 3 kilowatts. And remember, if you are putting something into an equation and it's not the standard SI unit, it's some different unit, you need to show that, right? So don't just write 3 and leave it there. Tell them, I know I'm putting in kilowatts. And energy, and then time, and now we're putting in the time in 2 hours, and that will give me my energy used as 2 times 3, 6, and that will now be kilowatt hours, right? Kilowatt hours. So that is the energy used. So we're not working towards joule, we are now working to kilowatt hours. Then you will say the tariff is 1 rand 40 per kilowatt hours, and I've times 6 for kilowatt hours used, and then you end up with 8 rand 40. which doesn't sound much, but remember, you've got a lot of different things in your house, all of them using energy, so it's adding and adding and adding to your bill. In the second question, they're asking us how long, so we are looking for delta T. They're giving us a microwave oven, so we've got the P. Functioning for there, they give us the total cost. They've got 100 Rand, and they're giving us the tariff as well. Okay, so cost is always my tariff times the energy used. Now the total cost is now 100 rands, and the tariff is 1.80 Rand per kilowatt hour, and then I just need the energy from there, and that ends up being 55.60 kilowatt hours. And now I'm going to say, okay, so let's use P equals W over delta T. Now we've got that energy, 55.60. I'm not using joules, so I'm going to show them I'm using kilowatt hours. And I'm looking for the time. That's my unknown. And the power. Now remember, if we are working with kilowatt hours, not joules, then I need to put this in as 0.8 kilowatts. And then I end up with the time, and the time there is going to be 69, no, sorry, 69.40. And guys, if I put that in kilowatts and that kilowatt hours and that in kilowatts, then obviously this is going to be hours. Right guys, that's all for electricity. I hope you had a good time on circuits.